Sports used to be the main source of spectator entertainment, but now, what about video games? Will gaming ever be a spectator sport like its entertainment predecessors? We're about to get into it, folks. You know it, you love it. It's The Loop. Now, before the break, we asked you if you would watch video gaming as a professional sport. Well, according to our text message counting scientists at the G4 laboratories, 61% of you shockingly said no, you would not. Joining us via satellite to help us make sense of it all, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, contributor to SportsPickle.com, the sports humor and satire website, DJ Gallo's on the sat. From Los Angeles, video game analyst Geoff Keighley is here. And from the Big Apple, CEO of Major League Gaming, Mike Sepso. Gentlemen, welcome to The Loop. Jeff, I'd like to start with you if we can. 61% of our viewers. This is the target demo. These are the hardest of the hardcore that should all be tuning in. They say they're not going to watch gaming as a spectator sport. Why should anyone get into this if the hardcore kids aren't going to tune in?
Well, I think the appeal to most of these, leagues is the idea that, this could one day become a great spectator sport. I think the problem right now is that it's fun to play these games. Like anyone who plays Halo 2 with your friends, when you're actually in the game, when you're the player, it's a lot of fun. The question is, will people actually want to spectate and watch other people play it? Because, to me, sometimes when you watch these games, it's sort of like nuclear fission or something. There's so much going on.
Sure.
No one really knows, quite, understands what's going on.
But anybody can play a game. Not everybody can hit the court or hit a hole in one.
I don't know, but watching a bunch of people with energy swords, going at each other. I mean, if you have, good sort of, shoutcasters explaining what's going on, I guess it's interesting. But, would your mom, Kevin, is she going to watch a bunch of people with energy swords?
My mom didn't watch Arena, and I begged her to. What can I do? DJ, people want to watch other people play video games, right? Am I crazy?
Right.
They want to watch this.
No, not at all. I'm sorry. I love video games, but I'm not going to watch people play video games. The thing that's great about spectator sports, your baseball, your soccer, your football, you see people dunking on people, jumping over people, running fast, flipping, whatever. What's the equivalent in video games? Is it, look how fast he's tapping that B button or the joystick controls? It's just not the same.
That could be a valid point, but how do you explain, Texas Hold'em or curling in the Olympics?
Well, I can't explain that, but...
All right, fair enough.
But I think the difference point. Good point.
Fair enough. Actually, I want to go to Mike here because your company, Major League Gaming, you guys signed up with USA Networks to show matches. How are you guys going to actually do this? Because, believe me, I want it to succeed. I want Major League Gaming to become a big deal. I want it to be a spectator sport, but how are you going to make it accessible to the mainstream?
Well, I think it's, just like any other sport. Like you mentioned poker before, very similar. How do you make something like poker or even NASCAR, for that matter, which is the biggest spectator sport in this country, how do you make that really interesting? It's just a bunch of guys driving around in a circle. You apply traditional sports rules to it. You get sportscasters in there. You use graphics to explain what's going on, and you pull people right into the game. And whether it's a game of Texas Hold'em, which really, there's no dunking or jumping in that game either, DJ. We're talking about something very interesting because you pull people into the personalities. These are kids who are 16 to 24 years old playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars with sponsorships and a lot of pride on the line. They work their butts off playing these games, and they're really training for it. And I think you can see when you match some of these guys who are pro level in Major League Gaming up against your average, just very good Halo player or Smash player or any other game, the difference is like DJ playing one-on-one against Michael Jordan in the backyard. It's just...
Well, I have to say, I'd give him a pretty good game.
That's true. DJ does have mad skills, so in all fairness to him. Jeff, the Global Gaming League, they're pushing for video games as a sport for the Olympics in China. They think this is actually going to be the next Olympic sport. You're shaking your head like you don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I've heard that talk. I remember the CPL, 10 years ago was talking about how one day, their goal is to get into the Olympics. And that means it's a sexy idea to think you're going to have, a stadium of, 60,000 people watching, the final match of Counter-Strike. I don't know if it's going to get there. I think that's, a few leaps ahead. I think first, like Mike said, they've got to prove that it's interesting just to watch on TV for, any match. And then eventually, I think if it grows, a big following, it can happen. But to me, the Olympics, that's a hard thing for me to believe just because of the physical nature of the game isn't really there. But maybe one day there'll be a game where look at the Wii, right? That's Wii. You got to work out for that.
Yeah, I don't think everybody tennis is going to be. There's not going to be a gold medal and bronze going on there. But some
think what
countries
they
have
need-
had success. DJ, it's kind of like the World Cup, where in other countries, this thing is huge. It is a spectator sport. Hundreds of thousands are showing up and cheering for this. Why is it big overseas and yet not here? Why are guys like you saying, I could care less?
Right. I think it's partly because luckily our culture is not too influenced by, say, Korean culture, Japanese culture, or all of our television would be people vomiting on each other and throwing bugs at each other.
That's the whole first half of our show, so don't look too negatively upon that.
Maybe that should actually be a video game. You vomit on people.
I think it is in
the way to go.
Japan, and I'd show up to watch it. But do you, cultural differences aside, is it because maybe they've figured out how to present it on TV and they haven't done that here in the States?
No, I don't think. I think a lot of it is we have more spectator sports here, right? There it's baseball and soccer. We have baseball, soccer, basketball, American football, hockey. Well, sort of hockey, but you know what I'm saying? There's more options here.
Competitive eating, darts, etc.
Right.
We have quite a laundry list.
Right.
Mike, could it have something to do with the fact that we don't have successful sports figureheads? Like, basketball has their Michael Jordans, but do we have that in the gaming side of things, or do we need that? Is that a little bit, egg before the chicken?
This hasn't happened yet. We just did the first ever serious TV deal. We did this with the people who produced the Olympics, so I think we know what we're talking about. I mean, the executive producer of our pro circuit this year is a 3-time Emmy Award winner who's produced 2 Olympic telecasts. So these guys know what they're doing. We're presenting this in a way that's digestible by a more mainstream audience, and I think going back to the past couple of things, like the 61% of your viewers who said they wouldn't watch it as a spectator sport, we already have a hardcore geared video programming for that group of people, and it's on our website. And tens of thousands of people are watching that and consuming that because they want to see the full game detail and see what's going on. We're talking about creating something that's much more mainstream out of great personalities, lots of money in the prize pool, people really going at it hard against each other and trash talking and having a great time.
And of course, the presentation, like you said, it's all about presenting it to people so that they can understand what's going on and why they should care about it.
Now, absolutely, and I have to agree with Jeff. I mean, the idea that what we're doing, or certainly, Major League Gaming again is an all console gaming league. It's a much more mainstream activity. We're not talking about a 6-year-old version of Counter-Strike on a keyboard and a mouse. I think the idea that could be an Olympic sport is ridiculous, and it's an obvious marketing ploy to try to get some PR attention.
Sure.
And get talked about on shows like this. But there's already a list of 20 other sports that are waiting to become Olympic games, and the IOC has said multiple times they're not going to do that. As a matter of fact, they just dropped baseball. So I think the idea that computer gaming is going to get into the Olympics is a ridiculous idea.
All right, could happen.
I don't know if just the graphics is the way to do it, though. I think you need to build in some drama. Maybe like Kevin, you touched on it in the intros. Maybe a steroid scandal. Like you got a team with 2 huge, overly muscled
steroids.
thumbs. Yeah, taking on the
Maybe
team
we'll
who's gone
start
all
beefing
natural
up the
with
mice
Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
or get a steroid injected keyboard. We'll figure something out.
Right.
But for now, it looks like it remains a controversy. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us in the loop. DJ Gallo, Geoff Keighley, and of course Mike Sepso. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure.